If you've been anywhere near enterprise app development lately, you already know the exact pain point we're tackling today. We're going to dive into a massive structural bottleneck, a deployment lag that just constantly stalls out both data engineering and dev teams. Let's just go ahead and map out the core issue. Section 1. The backend bottleneck. So let's look at the reality on the ground right now. We've got a really weird discrepancy in deployment velocity these days. You can fire up an AI coding agent and honestly have a fully working front end built in under an hour. It's an incredibly fast, highly iterative process. But then you hit a brick wall. Because getting a production-ready backend provision for that exact same app, that is still a massive multi-week ordeal. Enterprise teams are literally waiting 3 weeks or more just to get the infrastructure to support one single hour of front-end work. Now, you might be wondering, why the heck does it take 3 weeks? Well, as you know, it's never just spinning up a simple server. You have to configure the authentication, get the database set up, figure out strict access policies, do all the compliance wiring, and get past all your governance controls. In standard enterprise environments, that checklist means coordinating across multiple teams, waiting for approvals, and yeah, that completely eats up that 3-week block. And here is where the real architectural flaw sneaks in. Because doing things the right way takes so long, developers naturally find workarounds. Every new internal app or new AI agent ends up spawning its own isolated database, completely outside your governed data estate. Context can't be shared, agents can't coordinate with each other, and suddenly you're looking at a totally fragmented mess of data silos scattered across your organization. Section 2. Enter Microsoft Rayfin. All right, so to actually fix this specific architectural fragmentation, Microsoft announced a tool at Build 2026 called Rayfin. Simply put, it's an open-source SDK and CLI designed to deploy a complete application backend directly into Microsoft Fabric. The whole idea is to completely bypass that multi-week setup by automating the deployment right into the exact environment your data engineers are already living in daily. Let's peek under the hood at what this actually does. When a developer runs a single command, literally just npx rayfin up, it automatically provisions 3 specific infrastructure components for you. First, a SQL database right inside Microsoft Fabric. Second, Microsoft Entra ID authentication, though definitely keep in mind it's SSO only. And third, a GraphQL API, along with OneLake-connected static hosting. It basically takes that entire 3-week governance headache and condenses it down into one single execution. Section 3. The Zero-ETL advantage. Let's move over to the data movement side of things, because this is where the architecture really diverges from what we're used to. With this deployment model, your app data lands in OneLake automatically. We're talking Zero-ETL. There are no pipelines to build, no data copying, and absolutely zero synchronization delay. The absolute second the data hits the backend, it's sitting centrally in your data estate, fully ready to be queried by your notebooks or your AI agents. So how does this actually stack up against something like Supabase or Neon? Look, both of those are fantastic multi-cloud platforms, but they spin up isolated Postgres databases that sit outside your organization's core data estate. Rayfin, on the other hand, is Fabric native. Now that does mean you are locked into Azure, but you get that Zero-ETL integration with OneLake. Also, a quick reality check on status, Rayfin is currently in public preview, whereas the others are completely production ready. Section 4. Real-world supply chain. To make this a bit more concrete, let's map this architecture to a practical supply chain scenario. Trace the data flow with me here. Imagine you've got field workers logging their delivery statuses on a standard React frontend. The moment they hit submit, a GraphQL mutation executes, writing directly to that Fabric SQL database in the back end. And because of that Zero-ETL architecture we just talked about, that data is instantly available for Power BI to run queries against. The practical business outcome of this is pretty huge. Your on-time delivery metrics are updating in real time. You entirely eliminate that traditional nightly ETL pipeline lag. A field worker inputs a status, and boom, it is immediately queryable by your Power BI semantic models. Section 5. The honest trade-offs. Now, as engineers, we know any architectural choice comes with constraints. We have to be realistic about operational realities before integrating a new tool. First off, Rayfin requires Microsoft Fabric, so you are locked into Azure only. Second, like I mentioned, it's currently in public preview. Here's a massive constraint, though. Schema changes have to be done from code only, because the portal SQL database is strictly read-only. For authentication, you're stuck with Microsoft Entra ID. And finally, Replit is currently the exclusive launch partner for this specific tooling. All right, we've covered the high-level architecture today, but if you want to get your hands dirty with the implementation specifics, you will need to check the link in the description below. We put together a full written guide that has all the exact TypeScript code, the decorator syntax, a complete CLI command reference, the full architecture diagram, and a very detailed pricing breakdown, including Fabric AVSCII consumption. We've kept this explainer strictly focused on the concepts, so definitely head to that description link for all the technical details. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with a thought. How will Zero-ETL and Fabric native backends change your next development sprint? Seriously, if you can completely bypass a 3-week infrastructure roadblock, how does that shift the way your data engineers and app developers collaborate? Think about how a setup like this might actually apply to your own data estate. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.